She may act like she doesn't care, but deep down, every woman fears losing a man she values. Imagine this. She's sitting at home, scrolling through her phone, her mind racing, wondering why she hasn't heard from you. She starts overthinking every word you've ever said, every moment you've shared, and every possible reason you've gone silent. Suddenly, the tables have turned. She's no longer in control, and for the first time, she's terrified of losing you. If you've ever felt like you're the one doing all the chasing, it's time to flip the script. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to make her scared of losing you, using proven psychological techniques that work like magic. Keep watching, because this is about to change everything you thought you knew about relationships. Fear of loss is one of the most powerful motivators in human psychology. Whether it's fear of losing an opportunity, an object, or in this case, a person, it triggers a deep emotional response. For women, the fear of losing a man they see as valuable taps into their natural need for security and connection. It's not about manipulation, it's about understanding how human emotions work and how they affect attraction. Think about it this way. We all value things that feel scarce or hard to obtain. When something is always available and easily accessible, it loses its specialness. Relationships are no different. If she knows that no matter what she does, you'll always stick around, her brain stops seeing you as a challenge, and challenges, whether we admit it or not, keep things exciting. Women are naturally drawn to men who seem like they could walk away at any moment, not because they're cold or heartless, but because they're self-assured and emotionally independent. Now, it's important to understand that this isn't about playing games or acting aloof just to provoke a reaction. It's about genuinely being a man who has his own life, his own priorities, and his own self-respect. Women pick up on this energy. If you don't value yourself, she won't value you either. But when you respect yourself and maintain strong boundaries, she starts to feel that subtle fear of loss. And it's not fear in a negative way, it's more about her realizing that she needs to keep showing up in the relationship because you're someone worth holding on to. Here's where most men get it wrong. They confuse fear of loss with making a woman jealous or intentionally ignoring her. That's not what we're talking about here. Fear of loss comes from her recognizing your worth, not from toxic behavior. For example, when you show that your time is valuable by not dropping everything for her, she understands that she needs to earn your attention. This triggers a shift in how she views you. Suddenly, you're no longer just there whenever she wants. You become someone she needs to invest in emotionally. The psychology behind this is simple. Women are wired to protect what they see as valuable. When she perceives you as a man who is confident, independent, and not afraid to walk away if things aren't right, it creates a dynamic where she feels the need to step up. This isn't about fear in the traditional sense. It's about her realizing that your presence in her life isn't guaranteed, and when she feels that, she'll naturally start to prioritize you more. The key here is balance. You don't want to push too hard or come across as dismissive. Instead, you want to subtly convey that you're not someone who will tolerate being taken for granted. This starts with understanding your own worth and making sure your actions reflect it. It's about being a man she respects, not just someone she feels comfortable having around. When you can embody this mindset, you naturally create that sense of value, and with it, the subtle fear of losing you. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is over-pursuit. It's a natural reaction. You like her, you want to show her how much you care, and you think the best way to do that is by being as available and attentive as possible. But here's the harsh truth. The more you chase, the less she values your attention. It's counterintuitive, but it's the way human psychology works. When you're constantly available, constantly messaging, and always bending over backward to make her happy, you remove any sense of challenge or mystery. And without that, the fear of losing you vanishes completely. Over-pursuit often comes from a place of insecurity. You feel like you need to prove your worth or compete for her attention, but the reality is that this only highlights a lack of confidence. Women are incredibly perceptive when it comes to these things. If she senses that you're chasing her because you're afraid of losing her, she'll start to take you for granted. Why? Because your actions tell her that you value her more than you value yourself. And as soon as that dynamic is established, the relationship starts to feel unbalanced. And let's break this down. When you're always the one initiating conversations, planning dates, or trying to win her over, You're essentially doing all the emotional work in the relationship. She doesn't have to invest because you're already doing enough for the both of you. And while that might seem noble or romantic, it actually robs her of the opportunity to develop her own feelings for you. Attraction isn't something you can force. It's something that grows naturally when there's space for it to develop. Over-pursuit eliminates that space. Another thing to consider is how predictability affects attraction. If she knows exactly how you'll react, if she knows you'll always text her good morning or immediately reply to every message, there's no sense of anticipation. Think about it. What's more exciting? Opening a gift you've been curious about for days or receiving something you already knew was coming? Relationships work the same way. When you're too predictable, the excitement fades. And when the excitement fades, so does her interest. But here's the thing. It's not just about texting less or being harder to reach. It's about shifting your mindset. Over-pursuit often happens because men place too much of their happiness and identity on a single person. When you make her the center of your world, you're essentially telling her, "You complete me." While that might sound romantic in movies, in real life, it comes across as needy, and neediness is the fastest way to kill attraction. The solution? Stop trying so hard to prove yourself. Instead of over-pursuing, focus on becoming someone she wants to pursue. This means developing your own life outside of her. Work on your goals, hobbies, and passions. Spend time with friends and family. The more you invest in yourself, the less you'll feel the need to overcompensate in the relationship. And as a bonus, when she sees that you have your own fulfilling life, she'll naturally start to chase you. When you stop over-pursuing, you give her the space to wonder about you, to miss you, and to think about what it would feel like to lose you. This shift changes everything. Suddenly, she's the one putting in effort, texting you first, and planning ways to spend time with you. That's how you create balance in the relationship. And when that balance is restored, the fear of losing you becomes real, because she sees that you're not afraid to step back if you're not being valued. Emotional independence is the cornerstone of creating a healthy dynamic where she feels the fear of losing you. Let's get one thing straight. Emotional independence doesn't mean shutting her out or acting like you don't care. It means being secure in yourself, not relying on her or anyone else for your sense of worth or happiness. When you embody emotional independence, you naturally position yourself as someone she respects, admires, and fears losing. The truth is, many men unknowingly give away their power in relationships by becoming too emotionally reliant on their partner. It's subtle but impactful. For example, constantly seeking her validation, whether through compliments, attention, or reassurance, sends a clear message that your emotional state depends on her approval. And when she feels like you're dependent on her in this way, the dynamic shifts. Instead of seeing you as a strong, independent man, she starts to view you as someone who needs her to feel complete. That's not attractive. It's draining. Think about the type of man women find irresistible. It's not the guy who constantly needs to be reassured or catered to. It's the man who has his life together, the man who exudes confidence and doesn't crumble if things don't go his way. Emotional independence is about being that man. It's about having the ability to walk away if your needs aren't being met, not out of spite or manipulation, but because you value yourself enough to demand mutual respect and effort in a relationship. Now, how do you build emotional independence? It starts with shifting your focus away from her and back onto yourself. When you put her on a pedestal, you're essentially making her the center of your universe. That's a dangerous place to be because it creates an unhealthy dynamic where her actions or feelings dictate your emotional state. Instead, flip the script. Prioritize your own growth and happiness. Ask yourself, what are my goals? What makes me happy outside of this relationship? Then commit to pursuing those things unapologetically. Another critical aspect of emotional independence is mastering your emotions. Women respect men who can remain calm and composed, especially in high-pressure situations. If you're constantly reacting emotionally, whether it's anger, frustration, or even overexcitement, you're showing her that she has the power to control your mood. And when she sees that, the fear of losing you diminishes. On the other hand, when you maintain composure, even when things aren't going perfectly, you signal strength and stability. That's what creates a lasting impression. It's also important to set boundaries. Emotional independence doesn't just mean focusing on yourself, it also means clearly communicating what you will and won't tolerate. For instance, if she cancels plans last minute or disrespects your time, it's essential to address it calmly but firmly. Letting things slide repeatedly shows her that you don't respect yourself, which in turn makes it hard for her to respect you. When you establish boundaries and stick to them, you're sending a powerful message. I value myself, and I won't accept less than what I deserve. That confidence is magnetic. What happens when you achieve emotional independence? She starts to see you as a man with options, a man who doesn't need her, but chooses to be with her. That's when the fear of losing you becomes real, because she realizes that your happiness isn't tied to her. And when she knows that you're perfectly capable of walking away if things aren't right, she'll work harder to keep you in her life. Emotional independence shifts the power dynamic in your favor, creating a relationship where you're valued and respected, and where she can't imagine losing you. Scarcity is one of the most effective psychological tools to make her fear losing you. It taps into a fundamental human tendency. We value what we can't easily have. When you're too available, constantly texting her, always agreeing to meet whenever she's free, or dropping everything at a moment's notice, it sends a subtle message that your time and attention are not in high demand. The result? She starts to take you for granted. Now, imagine flipping the script. What happens when you become less accessible? When your time feels limited and valuable, she begins to crave your attention because it's no longer guaranteed. Scarcity is about showing her, through your actions, not your words, that your life is full and that you're not waiting around for her. This doesn't mean playing hard to get in a way that feels manipulative or disingenuous. Instead, it's about genuinely creating a life where you're busy, fulfilled, and not overly reliant on her presence. For instance, let's talk about communication. A common mistake many men make is responding to texts instantly or engaging in endless conversations over the phone. While staying in touch is important, over-communicating can dilute your value. If she always knows she can reach you at any time, where's the mystery? Instead, try this. Take your time responding, especially when you're busy with something important. Not as a game, but as a reflection of your priorities. Let her see that your life doesn't revolve around her. This subtle change can make a huge difference in how she perceives your value. The same principle applies to how often you spend time together. It's tempting to see her as much as possible, especially if you're in the early stages of dating or trying to deepen your connection. But overdoing it can backfire. Spending too much time together, especially early on, can lead to familiarity. And we all know the saying, familiarity breeds contempt. Giving her space to miss you creates anticipation and excitement when you do see each other. A practical way to create scarcity is by focusing on your own goals, hobbies, and social life. If your schedule is packed with things you're passionate about, whether it's advancing your career, hitting the gym, or spending time with friends, you naturally become less available. And here's the beauty of it. This isn't about pretending to be busy, it's about actually being busy, living a fulfilling life that doesn't depend on her presence. When she sees that you're a man with purpose and direction, her respect and attraction for you will grow. Scarcity also works on a deeper emotional level. If you're always showering her with compliments, affection, and attention, these things lose their impact. But when your compliments come sparingly, they carry more weight. When your affection isn't constant, it feels more genuine and special. This isn't about withholding love or playing games, it's about creating balance. The key to mastering scarcity is to strike the right balance. If you're too distant, she may feel unimportant and start to lose interest. But if you're always available, she'll take you for granted. The sweet spot is being present enough to show her you care, but not so much that she feels your attention is guaranteed. This balance keeps her guessing and makes her realize your value. The beauty of scarcity lies in its subtlety. You're not pulling away in a dramatic or obvious way. Instead, you're shifting the focus back onto your own life and letting her come to you. When she sees that your time, attention, and affection are not unlimited, she'll start to appreciate them more. And as she begins to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, or why you're not as available as you once were, the fear of losing you will take root. Scarcity isn't about manipulation. It's about showing her that you're a man whose time and energy are worth earning. One of the most attractive qualities a man can possess is independence. Women are naturally drawn to men who have their own lives, goals, and ambitions. Independence not only signals confidence, but also creates an undeniable sense of respect and admiration. On the flip side, dependency, whether emotional or otherwise, can quickly erode attraction. If you want her to fear losing you, you must master the art of being self-sufficient and emotionally grounded. This starts with how you present yourself. A man who is truly independent doesn't rely on external validation to feel good about himself. He knows his worth and doesn't need constant reassurance from others, including the woman he's with. When you exude this kind of self-assurance, it naturally makes her see you as someone who's hard to replace. It's not about arrogance or being overly detached. It's about showing her that you're complete on your own. Being independent also means having a clear sense of purpose. If you're drifting aimlessly in life, not knowing what you want or where you're headed, it creates an impression of uncertainty. A man with purpose, however, is magnetic. He's driven, ambitious, and focused, and he doesn't let distractions steer him off course. When she sees that you're committed to your own growth and success, it makes her feel privileged to be part of your journey rather than feeling like your sole focus. Independence also extends to how you handle your emotions. Emotional maturity is a game changer. If you're constantly seeking her approval, reacting impulsively to her actions, or relying on her for your happiness, it sends a message of insecurity. On the other hand, when you remain composed and in control, it signals strength. For example, if she tries to test your boundaries, perhaps by pulling back or playing hard to get, a dependent man might panic or chase after her. But an independent man? He calmly lets her come back on her own terms because he knows his value isn't dictated by her actions. Social independence is another critical factor. If your entire social life revolves around her, it can create a dynamic where she feels suffocated. Having your own friends, interests, and routines not only makes you more interesting, but also shows her that you don't need her to complete you. This balance of togetherness and individuality keeps the relationship healthy and exciting. It's worth noting that independence doesn't mean shutting her out or being emotionally unavailable. It's about showing her that while you value her presence, your world doesn't collapse without her. This subtle dynamic creates a sense of healthy tension, where she feels inspired to work for your attention rather than assuming it's always guaranteed. When you embody independence, she begins to view you as a man who's not easily replaced. She knows that if she loses you, she's not just losing a partner, she's losing someone exceptional. This realization, combined with her natural fear of being replaced by someone else, makes her think twice about taking you for granted. Independence also creates a powerful psychological effect. It shifts the balance of power in your favor. When she sees that you're not emotionally reliant on her, it naturally makes her more invested in you. Suddenly, she's the one wondering how to keep your interest, how to hold on to you, and what she can do to make sure she doesn't lose you. Ultimately, independence is about living a life so fulfilling and rewarding that she feels lucky to be part of it. It's about being a man who's constantly growing, improving, and striving for greatness. Not for her, but for yourself. When you embody this mindset, you become the kind of man she can't imagine losing because she knows that men like you are rare. And in that realization lies the key to making her truly fear losing you. When it comes to relationships, the ultimate goal isn't to manipulate or control someone. It's to position yourself as irreplaceable in their life. Making her fear losing you isn't about playing games or creating unnecessary drama. It's about developing the qualities that naturally command respect, admiration, and attraction. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, everything else falls into place. And remember, this isn't about making her feel insecure or afraid. It's about creating a dynamic where she deeply appreciates and values you because she recognizes your worth. When you master this balance, you'll find yourself in a relationship built on mutual respect, admiration, and genuine connection. And that ultimately is the foundation of a powerful, lasting bond. Now, go out there and become the man she can't afford to lose. You've got this.